We have heard tell that there is a murder in our family.
There is indeed. Now, one of the things that the older generation sort of took down to a whisper was Aunt Dory. Aunt Dory is this person right here.
In the black, like the rest of them.
Aunt Dory is quite a looker, as you can see. Mm-hmm. It's rumored, I've never been able to actually document it, that one of the things that helped her get that reputation that she had was that she went to St. Louis and she danced on the stage in St. Louis in the 1880s. Well, Dory came back to this part of the country, and Dory decided to marry this fellow. He was a local farmer. He had land of his own and was fairly well-to-do. So she married him, and they went to living on the farm. He had a hired hand. Now, this husband of hers was not liked. He was a difficult person to get along with by everybody. And also true was he gave the hired hand a very rough time. He and the hired hand had some terrible scenes. And after one of the terrible scenes, this husband of hers, first husband, he went out and plowed almost all night long. Now, nobody goes out in their field and plows in those days. There was no lights or anything. And he's got the horses hooked up and he's plowing out there away in the field. And people wonder, what the world is he doing? Well, the next day the hired hand wasn't around. People said, what happened to the hired hand? He said, he took off. People said, no, he was plowed under that very night. Nobody ever found hide nor hair of that hired man. Well, after a while, Dory decided, I can't live with this guy. This is way back at the beginning of the 1900s. Mm-hmm. She said, I can't live with this guy. So she goes in town, and she meets with a lawyer, and she finds out about divorce. And she says, I want a divorce from this guy. So the lawyer, he fixes up the papers and whatnot. And she finally is ready to now go to court and have the divorce finalized.
Which is quite an unusual thing for the time.
Quite an unusual thing. Michael, knowing that this husband of hers is a spitfire and a son of a bitch, and everybody dislikes him, packs himself a pistol and goes to protect his sister Dory at the courthouse in Sullivan, Illinois. Same one that stands there today. They get out of the car. Michael and Dory get out of the car. They start walking up the sidewalk. He jumps out of his wagon. He gets between them and the courthouse. He says, you're not going in there. Michael says, yes, we're going on in there. And takes a couple of steps forward. The husband gets all agitated, pulls out his gun. Mm-hmm. Says, stop where you are. Michael said, we're going in there. He shoots Michael. The bullet goes through Michael's leg, knocks him down. Michael's on the sidewalk, seeing the guy's going to take another shot, and Michael pulls his pistol out, and he takes aim there on the ground, and he shoots his pistol off, and he hits that husband almost mortally. Two of them are down on the sidewalk. Michael is not mortally hit, but the husband does die. And so Michael has to be arrested for murder.
Right.
And he is, right there in Moultrie County. And he has to go to trial. Murder, first degree, carrying a pistol, ready to shoot him. And it goes to trial, right there, in the courthouse, in Sullivan, Illinois. Testimonies all given and whatnot. And the jury finally says, he's innocent. He was fired upon first. He was defending himself. No guilt. And the whole place went up for grabs because all the audience loved the fact that the son of a bitch was shot by Michael. But it affected Michael. He had to live with the fact that he'd shot a man and killed him. So he resigned as schoolmaster. He went west and ended up in Walla Walla, Washington, and became a gambler and an owner of a pawn shop. Married, had a family, and later these two traveled out to Walla Walla, Washington, and wrote letters from out there saying, "This is a great place to live. Bring the best of the family out here." Because Michael was there and was settled in.
Yeah.
But that's not the end of the story. Dory, the foxy one. Dory remarried. Now, second time she married kind of a blah guy over there in Allenville. And so they lasted a few years, and she decided, this is not it. By gum, she went back and she got divorced from him. And then she married another guy. And they went for a little ways, and this other guy seemed to be just about as hot-tempered as her first husband. And so she goes uptown, she says, "I want a divorce from this guy." So, okay, cost you this, da da da. And he's down on the street, the third husband, yelling up there that he wants to meet with Dory and the lawyer.
This is at the Sullivan Courthouse again?
This is the south side of the courthouse. They're in the lawyer's
where she had
office,
the shootout before.
Where she had the shootout before. And the lawyer goes down there. And the guy says, I just want to quietly talk to you and her and whatnot. She has a daughter with her. It's about 6 years old. Mm-hmm. And so they go back up to the third floor, right there on the south side of the square in Sullivan, to the lawyer's office. He gets in the lawyer's office, and he pulls out his gun, and he shoots Dory. Goes in sort of back here in her neck and comes out through the top part of her mouth up here. And he thinks he's killed her. She goes down. Her daughter, her little daughter, fell on top of her mother to protect her mother. And the husband takes the gun and shoots himself, but he's a little off center, so it goes up, and he isn't dead yet. So he, the second time, he shoots himself right there in the office, dead, in her presence. She has a kind of a long recovery time. Mm-hmm. The pistol was the same one that had been used by her brother. And that pistol today is in Missouri, owned by my cousin Bill Kirk, according to the legend of my grandfather giving young Bill the pistol. That pistol is still around, having committed 2 murders, and that's the story of Dora and Michael.